Giving all glory, praise, and honor that's due to Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah Waharakak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, great millstone, peace, mercy, and grace to the household of faith. Scott Ritter, a former major intelligence officer, U.S. Marine and UN weapons inspector, argues that the new U.S. national security strategy confirms that the EU is now considered an enemy. This is important because this lines up with the prophecy of the beast, the horns upon the beast, hating the whore. What's happening right now, the whore, which is Babylon the Great, is becoming isolated. It's becoming isolated, and this is all in preparation of the Most High fulfilling the prophecy of the nations warring against her, shooting missiles over here. Okay, this is where we're going. I'm gonna play a little bit of this clip and bring out some scriptures.
Do you see some escalation?
It's a pretty long video. I just want to get a relative point, and I think this is a relative point. Scott Ritter is the one on the left. So let's I believe that's the one on the left. So let's he's going to be asked a question, and we're going to listen to his response, and then we'll go back into the scriptures.
Coming this way?
Yeah, I see that. This can spin out of control very fast, very fast. What I see happening is that Trump is going to use the tools of divide and conquer. There are certain European nations that can't live without the United States. Poland is not going to walk away from the United States. Germany has already made a strategic decision to walk away. So in the short term, I think you're going to see the transfer of American assets out of Germany into Poland or back to the United States. But I think you're going to see the United States divest itself of Germany. This is fundamental. It's the end of NATO. The United States is already, if you notice that Marco Rubio didn't attend the NATO ministerial, it's the kiss of death. The other thing that's happening is that we are beginning to pull out of some of the foundational, infrastructure of NATO, logistical planning, communications. NATO can't have a large-scale military exercise without the United States involvement. We're not going to be involved. We're going to start to withdraw a whole bunch of critical support to NATO while we still be in NATO. We're just going to tell the Europeans, you got to do it. And Europe can't do it. Europe doesn't have logistical infrastructure that can unify Europe. They don't have a communications framework that can unify Europe. They were relying on the United States for this forever. And so,
See, they rely on the United States, which is what Revelation 17. Let me see. Let's do Revelation 13. No, 17. And we'll start at the top. It says, "And there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials and talked with me, saying, Come with me, and I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters." Right, the great whore is Babylon the Great, which is the United States. The many waters represent the various nations, the people. Verse 2, it says, "With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of fornication. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns." Right, the scarlet, the woman sitting upon a scarlet-colored beast. Okay, this is the whore. This is and the scarlet-colored beast, which scarlet is a variation of red, which is synonymous with Esau, his kingdoms, his rulership, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the 7 heads are the 7 empires. The 10 horns represent the various vassals under these under this current infrastructure, as you could say. You could say EU, which began with the 10 nations that expanded to the 27 today. Okay, and the 7 heads, one of them is what we're in right now, which is the Roman head, which is back today. All right, it says in verse 4, and the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color and decked with. Really, you can go into this whole chapter. I love going into this chapter, but we can scroll down to verse 16, because that's pretty much the point. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. See, and again, the beast, it represents NATO. So the 10 horns that's on the beast, which represent the EU, what they're gonna hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. Because truthfully, nobody really, likes the United States. People do business with them. They engage in diplomacy with them. But no one likes the United States. No one respects the United States. Most people look down on the United States because the United States looks down on everyone. The scriptures talk about having a look that was more stout than his fellows. Let's get that. Daniel 7:20. And of the 10 horns that were on his head. Oh, let's get that. 10 horns, huh? We'll start at 19. Then I would know the truth of the fourth beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, and his nails of brass, which devoured, brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with his feet. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes, and a mouth that spake very, very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows. I'm going to read that again, verse 20. It says, and of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell. Right. So the 10 horns, again, the EU, the European nations, which makes up the modern day Roman Empire, by the way. In addition to Babylon the Great, this is all the modern day Roman Empire. See, but it said the 10 horns that was in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell. The one that came up who fell, the 3, so you had 3 of them that fell, which represent the Spanish, French, and the British. And the one that sprang up out of that, which is Babylon the Great, which is the United States, which gained its independence from Britain in 1776. It says, even of that horn that had eyes, and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows. And that's what you see with Babylon the Great. It does a lot of speaking. It's like, even look at Donald Trump. Always talking. Look at what they're doing, with Venezuela, and everything he said that he wasn't going to do, he's doing it. He said he was going to stop all the wars and all this and that, but now he's shooting down Venezuelan boats. So-called drug cartels and drug traffickers, right? And when you look at stout, what is that? Whose look was more stout than his fellows. His fellows are his allies. Which is Rob, great captain, chief, whose look was more stout. Whose look was more stout. Yeah, so he's more chief than his fellows, and that's what the United States is when you compare it to all the other nations of the EU and NATO. Which NATO is the military, deals with the military, and the EU deals with it's an economic collection. But Babylon the Great is more stout, more chief, because it's the hammer. It is the baddest. Number one, it has the number one economy on the earth, and then number 2, it has the strongest military on the earth. So that's what makes it more stout, because the scriptures talk about how riches lift up the heart. Yeah, Sirach 40:26, it says, riches and strength lift up the heart. See, and that's what Babylon has. It has the riches via the money, the debts, the dollar, and it has the strength, the military. It has the strongest military. It says riches and strength lift up the heart, but the fear of the Lord is above them both. And there's no fear of the Lord here. That's why it won't survive. It says there is no want in the fear of the Lord, and it needeth not help to seek it. So that's a good one. Riches and strength lift up the heart. I had another one in mind. Dang, it slipped me. I'm gonna read it again though. Sirach 40:26, riches and strength lift up the heart, but the fear of the Lord is above them both. There is no want in the fear of the Lord, and it needeth not to seek help. So let's read on. Daniel 7:21, I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints and prevailed against them. Yep. They put us in slavery, right? They brought us over here on ships. They put us in slavery and captivity for a period of time. Verse 22, until the Ancient of Days came and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High, and the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. So we're approaching that time now, where judgment is coming. Let's go back to Revelation 17, because like it says here, how they were drunken. Oh, I know where I was going. So the riches and strength. When you go to Revelation 17:4, it says, and a woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, right, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls. That represents the riches. Having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And where through strength, that cup of abomination and filthiness was pushed on the earth. That's why when you read verse 2, it says, who the kings of the earth have committed fornication. They didn't do it because they just wanted to. They did it because they were somehow led into it. You know, their economies are weak. They need resources. They need something. They're in need. Let's look up the Confessions of the Economic Hitman.
Economic Hitman is a book written by John Perkins. It is an eye-opening account of the global financial system and the role of the economic hitman, EHM, in it. Perkins was an EHM himself, so he has first-hand experience of the inner workings of the system. The book starts with Perkins recounting how he got involved as an EHM and how he was trained to use economic analysis to manipulate the financial systems of developing nations. He then goes on to detail the tactics used by EHMs to coerce nations into accepting loans they can never repay. These loans often come with strings attached, such as the nation agreeing to U.S. corporate interests or U.S. military intervention in the future.
That's a lot. Let's go back and hear that again. It says he then goes on to detail the tactics, the schemes used by EHMs to coerce, what does coerce mean? It means to force, to coerce nations into accepting loans that they can never repay. Wicked.
Coerce nations into accepting loans they can never repay. These loans often come with strings attached, such as the nation agreeing to U.S. corporate interests or U.S. military intervention in the future.
Okay. So it says these loans often come with strings attached, such as the nation agreeing to the U.S. corporate interest, or U.S. military intervention in the future. This is part of how Revelation 17:2 takes place, with whom the kings, which are the heads of state, the heads of these nations of the earth, have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. They end up losing themselves. They lost themselves. They lost who they were as individuals, as nation, and they all are like carbon copies of what's going on over here. And you see that. You travel and go abroad, you see a lot of the demonic culture here is festering in other nations. Now some nations still at least have order where, they keep their women in check. They have men, women, and children households. They don't accept homosexuality, etc. They still have some of these things, but it's limited because the U.S. has its tentacles all over the earth. Like I said, upon many waters, upon many nations. So let's keep going. Let them say it.
Perkins then reveals how even after the loans have been accepted, they are usually misused by corrupt leaders to line their own pockets, leaving the nation with a mountain of debt it can never repay. He also describes the devastating effects this can have on the citizens of the nation, as well as the environment. The book also examines how economic hitmen have been used to help the U.S. maintain its global power, and how this has led to increasing inequality between the rich and the poor.
Go back.
Economic hitmen have been used to help the U.S. maintain its global power, and how this has led to increasing inequality between
See, so the economic hitman, they have been used to help the U.S. maintain its global power. Global power. And this has led to increasing inequality between the rich and the poor, man. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. When the wicked are in authority, the people mourn. Wickedness. This is why the scriptures talk about the sins of Babylon. Revelation 18:5. It says, "For her sins have reached unto heaven, and God hath remembered her iniquities." You see? Jeremiah 25. I was just thinking about that. Prophecy of the captivity, right? We came into captivity into this Babylon. Babylon will be judged. And it shall come to pass, this is Jeremiah 25:12, and it shall come to pass when 70 years are accomplished that I will punish the king of Babylon and that nation, saith the Lord. So the Edomites are going to get punished, and Babylon is going to get punished, and the heathen as well. It says the Lord, for their iniquity and the land of the Chaldeans, and will make it a perpetual desolations. Keep reading. And I will bring upon that land all my words, which I have pronounced against it, even all that is written in this book, which Jeremiah had prophesied against all the nations. And the Lord, you notice, so a few things here. It says, and will make it perpetual desolations. Babylon, which is modern day Iraq, in the Babylon of this chapter, or Jeremiah's time, that place is not a perpetual desolation. It's going to become a perpetual desolation today when this Babylon becomes a perpetual desolation via the nuclear destruction. See, and let's continue. It says, and I will bring upon the land all my words, which I have pronounced against it, even all that is written in this book, which Jeremiah prophesied against all the nations. And all that Jeremiah has written hasn't come to pass yet. When you read about chapter 50, chapter 51, about the arrows, which the arrows are really speaking about the missiles, that didn't happen. So catch the spirit here. It's talking about the Lord judging this Babylon. Verse 14, for many nations, even though he did bring down Babylon via the Medes. Was it the Medes? Yep, the Medes came after Nebuchadnezzar them. Yep. So verse 14, it says, for many nations and great kings shall serve themselves of them also, and I will recompense them according to their deeds, according to the work of their own hands. So when you read down, see, you start listening all these various nations: Pharaoh of Egypt, Edom, Moab, Ammon, the kings of Tyre, Zidon, Dedan, kings of Zimri. Verse 26, and all the kings of the north far and near one of another, and all the kingdoms of the world which are upon the face of the earth, and of the king of Shishak shall drink after them. See, the Lord would always get us first. He would punish us and then punish them for what they did to us. And it sounds like it doesn't make sense, but it's just the Lord, man. It's just the Lord's will. It's just the Lord's will. It's just the Lord's will. So we can keep going. I got to. Jeremiah 25:27. Therefore, thus saith the Lord unto them, thus saith the Lord of hosts, which is hosts is armies, the heavenly armies. It says, the God of Israel, drink ye and be drunken and spew and fall and rise no more because of the sword which I will send among you. And it shall be, if they refuse to drink the cup at thine hand to drink, then shalt thou say unto them, thus saith the Lord of hosts, ye shall certainly drink. For lo, I begin to bring evil of the city which is on the city which is called by my name. And should ye go be utterly unpunished? Ye shall not be unpunished, for I will call for a sword upon all the inhabitants of the earth, saith the Lord of hosts. So yeah, the Lord brought trouble and miseries and suffering on us. Is he not going to do this to the other nations? Absolutely. So yeah, this is pretty much what I wanted to hit today. Scott Ritter, basically saying that the U.S. now considers the EU an enemy, which is prophetic because the scriptures talk about the whore riding the beast, and the horns upon the beast shall hate the whores, and the horns represent the EU. So we're seeing the separation, the division, and the fall, which leads to our salvation. So Lord willing, this was edifying and informative to any elect that might come across this. I give all glory praise to Yahweh Hashem Shah once more. Until next time, I say shalom.